Hello, welcome to another episode of my podcast, The Bellslea Black and White, Past and Present. I'm joined tonight by Steve Dickie. Steve is now the man in charge of the Bellslea Bulletin that you see on the website, in the Broch website. So I thought this would be a fine chance to bring in Steve and let the fans see the man behind the Bulletin. Good evening, Steve. How are you?
Aye, no bad, Willie. How's things?
Oh, very well, thank you. And thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for inviting us. It was a bit of a surprise, but I'll do my best to be a bit interesting.
Well, that's all I hope every week that somebody listens. So before we get to the Bulletin, you was at the Maroon Saturday. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, absolutely superb. They just blew them away. What was it? Was it 11 minutes? And it was 3-0 and the game was finished. And Locos just never had an answer. Yeah, it was I think I read on Facebook that's their biggest defeat they've had since they joined the Highland League. I think somebody said equal with Cove beat them 7 as well. But aye, Broch were just fantastic. Really quick moving the ball and quick putting it in the net as well. So that was superb to see.
And it was good to see the goal shared about there just for the same couple of folk.
Aye, yes. I mean, yeah. And what kind of struck me about the last two performances. So I would say the Broch has got, obviously, they've got a strong squad, and it must be Mark Cowie and James Duthie. They must do a hard job picking 11 boys that's going to start, because there's what is there, maybe 19, 20 boys that could get a start. And we saw against Lossy, Sean Butcher was maybe unfortunate to be left out of the starting 11, and he obviously got brought on at half time and he scores a hat-trick. And it was a similar. So Connor Wood started against Lossy, and then Butch's hat-trick probably meant Connor was on the bench, but then Connor came on and he scored a double at the end. So it just shows you, shows you the strength of the squad, and it's great to see the goals shared around, as you say.
It'll maybe help Mark know that you're allowed 5 subs. That might ease it a wee bit.
That's a good thing for the Broch, because they've got such a strong squad. I can't mind if it was last season or the season before. It was probably an April game. I think Wick were doing, and they'd one substitute, and I think the substitute might have even been a goalkeeper. And you're thinking, well, when the Broch's got a squad with 5 boys they can bring on, then the likes of Wick are going to be up against it, obviously, with that kind of situation happening.
As you say, in a strong squad fairly helps them with the 5 subs, and to me, it's a good thing for the Broch. So when did you start getting interested in watching the Broch?
So I suppose it's kind of in 2 bits. So early days, I stayed in the Broch till I think it was 1981, Willie. My dad worked at a community centre while my mum was looking after me and my brother at home. And I can remember, to be fair, I was probably more of a Aberdeen supporter at that time. I didn't get to go to a lot of matches. Probably I can remember going to maybe 2 or 3 at Pataudry when we were in the Broch, but I can also remember going to a couple, maybe more at Bellslea. I can remember a couple of things that kind of stood out with it. You could, the Bairns used to get onto the pitch at half time for a kick about and try and blast the ball into the net if you got near the ball, because I was 6, 7 year old, so it was all the older kids that were hogging the bar. So I probably never got near it. But I can remember as well, my one of my neighbours was involved. I think it's going back 40 plus years, but I think it was maybe George Noble was his name. He stayed we stayed in Walker Crescent, and I think it was George. He stayed a few doors up for us, and he took us along to Bellslea one afternoon, and we got into the boardroom at half time. And I remember there was this fancy silver plate full of custard creams, and I got to help myself a custard cream, and it kind of made my day. It made my day. But then, yeah, as I say, my dad's work took us into Aberdeen in about 1981, so I was more of I went to Pittodrie pretty regularly then,
Yeah.
and it was a good time. It was a good time to be watching Aberdeen round about then, because it was like every season there was probably at least one trophy, maybe two. So I was away from the Broch for a long time, but I've kind of came back to watching it over the past couple of years.
Oh, right,
And
okay.
yeah, and
Hey,
really enjoyed it.
you said your boys get into football as well.
Yeah, yeah. So with a couple of moved into centre Aberdeen. Probably when they were just nae long started primary school. So they started playing football, and I started getting involved with the coaching. So I did, I did coaching for. Oh, I must have done coaching for about 10 years. They played football. I coached them through the week at their training and took them on a Saturday mornings. But then when they left primary school, they probably decided that football wasn't really for them. They went into athletics, and now they do Olympic weightlifting. So it's fine. I'm happy that they're still doing sport. I was never the type of parent that was going to force them into doing the sport that I wanted them to do. You need to let them find their own path. So, but I did the coaching, and then they moved away from playing football. But I enjoyed the coaching, so I kept doing it, which possibly slightly unusual. I think a lot of the teams were run by parents whose kids played for the team. But I kept doing it. I was coaching down at Glentanner, they played down at Woodside. They've got a junior team as well, but I was doing their juvenile team, and I took them from basically the 7-a-side football, which is probably about under 10s, under 11s, into 9s, and then all the way up through 11s to probably under 17s, and then a lot of the players packed it in. They've got when kids get to 16, 17-year-old, they've got other interests, let's say. And it's no longer a case of mums and dads making them get into the car and dragging them along to the football on a Saturday. They can make their own mind up, and a few of them drifted away. So that stopped the coaching for me, and that freed up a lot more time to do the likes of coming to the Broch games. So yeah, so it's worked out.
Good. I hear you had a bit of an unfortunate incident at training one day, had you? Or at coaching with Jamie Watt?
Oh, yes. I was doing my coaching badges, and I was Jamie was at Banks a Day at the time. I was a few Banks a Day boys on a coaching course. So you do your own running. It was Mark Slater and Callum McDonald were running a course on behalf of the SFA. So they've got us doing all the drills, and they've got us doing all the running. So I'm one of the oldest there, to be honest with you. So by the end of the day, I was pretty knackered. And the last drill of the day, it was a shooting drill. One of the young loons grabbed the gloves, and I was like, Him, you can get out and do some running. I'm gunning goals. I'm the oldest. I'm gunning goals. So it was the player came in, Jimmer came in. He had a layoff, and then he had a shot. And the boy that did the layoff was probably closer to me than it was to Jimmer, but he still came up and he gave it his all, and he blasted it. And here's me thinking, I'm Theo Snelders or Billy Gordon or somebody between the sticks. So I put my hands out to stop it, and it hit me on the heel of the hand. And as soon as it hit me, I just felt a shock going right up my arm, and it was like a spiral fracture on my forearm.
Oh, wow.
So that was my experience with Jimmer. So I haven't went in goals since then. No.
Not the best idea, was it?
No.
So how did you get involved in the Bellslea Bulletin?
Well, I guess it kind of ties back with the doing the kids football coaching, because we took kids up through the primary years, from probably primary 2 when they started doing their fitba, and then you took the same kids up through till they left the primary school at primary 7. And I was speaking to my pal that I coached with one day, and we thought, like, a traditional thing was to give them a wee plastic fitba shield or something along those lines as a memento when they finished their season. And we thought, because it's primary 7 and they're leaving the primary school and they're moving up to the big school and all that, we thought, let's try and do something a bit of special. So I designed and I made up kind of like a Panini album style thing. So we took a photo of the kids separately, we took a photo of the team together, and then we made up like a Panini album thing with like a sticker for each of the kids. So that went doing well with the kids. We did that a couple of years, and then when they brought won the league a couple of years ago, I thought, right, I'm going to try and do a kind of version along the same lines to kind of commemorate that. So, and it was, and I hope nobody that I used to work for is watching. It was kind of, I was working from home, and I found myself with probably more spare time through the working day than I might have had. So I just started putting that together, and it came out pretty well. Actually, I think it came out pretty well. I sent it into Finlay and says, look, I've made this up. Would you be interested in producing it or whatever? So as I say, it went doing well. And then I met Finlay, I think it was up at Keith last season, and I says, look, is there anything else I can kind of help out with? Because I'd stopped at coaching. And I was thinking, well, maybe, I've got more time than I probably used to have. So I planted the seed with Finlay, and he came back to us in the middle of June, just past, to say, look, we do this Bellslea Bulletin. We're looking to put it out once a month and get it up and going again. So would you be interested in helping out? So I was, delighted to get on board with that.
Good. And did he kind of give you an outlay of what he wanted, or was it free range?
Yeah, he did. He gave us. I was a rough outlay of what the format was. I got a lot of kind of free rein to basically change the design and change the software that we use to produce it if I wanted to. Through Twitter, I know that a guy that does Peter does a similar sort of thing on behalf of the Aberdeen Heritage Trust.
Okay.
They do. I think it's monthly, that one as well. But they produce like a black and gold, I think it's called. So I knew of that, and I went to Peter and I says, look, what kind of any software recommendations? So he pointed us in the right direction, and then so I started using that different software system and its software package, and Finlay was more than happy that I'd give it a little bit of a tweak. So yeah, good.
Very good. So what was the basis? What was involved when you first started? It's still in it now. Like,
so what was in it already? Obviously, like Finlay does a couple of pages. Mark Cowie does a couple of pages. Willie West does a couple of pages. Matthew West does a youth inside view of the youth teams as well. So that's all things that we've kept going. Because that's good. People want to hear the kind of insider view from within the club. It's a vehicle to facilitate that. I had a couple of ideas, like the Q&A bit, similar to what you do with your podcast, really, when you're interviewing the players. I thought, right, let's get a Q&A thing, and let's kind of get to know the players a bit more. Mm-hmm. So I asked Sean Butcher to do the first one, and Butch was delighted to do it. So that was much appreciated. And Ross Aiken's going to do the next one.
Very good.
So that's in the pipeline already. The memory match bit. So I went. I think it's Finlay that looks after. There's a spreadsheet with all the results and the team lineups and the scorers going back to 1910 or whatever it is. So I trawled through that and picked out all the winning finals. I wasn't interested in finals that had been defeated in, but I picked out a selection of winning finals going back to about 1970.
Okay.
And I was in the Central Library last week trawling through all P&Js to get their match report from the day after the final. So yeah, so I've got, I think the next edition, it's a 1991 Shield against Devonvale, and when I give away the ending for people for people that can't mind back to 19, there'll be plenty of people that can mind back, plenty of people that were there. But for any younger viewers, I'll keep the ending secret.
I can read the bulletin to find out if it's happening.
Yes, exactly.
Have you any ideas for any additional features going forward?
Well, that's something that I'd be interested in getting ideas from people. You know, I've obviously I've kind of just I've just started. This is just the second month that I'll be doing it. And I haven't been back watching the Broch for very long. So, you know, there's got to be people out there that I'm just the boy that puts a magazine together, basically. So if there's MD that's got any ideas for, oh, you should go and speak to him, or you should go and speak to somebody, or you should put in a bit about this or a bit in about that. Yeah, just let us know, because there's a lot of people are more qualified than I am, certainly, to say what the Broch's about and the features that should be in it. So yeah, I'd be delighted if people came forward with some ideas, or even articles, even features. You know, if there's somebody out there, a frustrated writer that wants to submit something, only too happy to accept it and only too happy to publish it.
Very good. So one of the fans has got to say, he comes up with a great idea. How does he get in touch with you to speak about putting it in the bulletin?
I guess probably through the Supporters Club Facebook site. It probably would be the quickest way to find this, I think, through Facebook Messenger. Yeah, because I put when the new edition comes out, I think the club will put it on the Fraserburgh FC Facebook page. But then last week last month I gave a rundown of the contents of it and posted it up on the FFC Supporters Club. So yeah, that's probably the best way to get in touch, I would think.
Of course, must be plenty of fans who's got a favourite match or a favourite story.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it's all about. You're trying to include something in the magazine for everybody. Some people will be happy looking at, you know, I'm a bit of a stato, so I could sit and look at team lineups and scorers and attendances. I could look at that all night. That's fine. Other people want to see photos of stuff, photos of matches. You've got Barry Walker putting in, you know, he puts photos up of all the games. So, you know, some people like to see photos, some people like to read, like we were talking about, the insider view from the club. Some people like to read that. So it's trying to have something that everybody's interested in.
Aye. And hearing guys like Finlay, Mark, Wally, Matty, folk always want to see that information.
Yeah. And it's good, and it's interesting, and it's straight from the horse's mouth, as you would say. I think there was a lot of noise over the summer about this Conference League that was mooted for coming in, and a lot of the clubs were I don't know if shooting their mouth off is a right. There was a lot of views being expressed on social media about whether it was a good idea or whether it was a bad idea, and the Broch were quiet. And that's fine, you know. There's more than one way to skin a cat. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much noise you make. You've got to vote at the end of the day, same as everybody else. So the Broch kind of held their fire a bit. Finlay's bit in the bulletin last month explained exactly what the thoughts were, and, you know, behind the Broch, what they were going to do, and ultimately they were going to vote against it, which which I thought was the right thing. But actually, type that insight you get from a column like that, from the
Absolutely.
chairman. So it's good.
There's no guy at Kensbrook better than Finlay.
Absolutely no.
There's only you can add your first stop.
Yes.
You have flaunt that all knowledge of the Brock, Finlay.
Yeah. That's it.
I was actually quite surprised on Facebook, Steve, that Brock got a bit of stick for other clubs for not declaring how they were going to go.
Yeah. And there was I don't know who was behind it, but there was a kind of no to B teams account popped up, and it was very vocal on Twitter certainly and on Facebook. And the person behind it was obviously really against the conference league, but they were quite vocal. If somebody hadn't declared, they were kind of holding it against them, and that didn't sit right with me.
No, I think everybody just looks after their own club and then I go shouting about their clubs. The Brock always keep their cards close to their chest.
Exactly.
The Brock do things the Brock way.
Yes, and it doesn't mean they were for it,
No.
And in Finlay's bit, spelt that out. They were absolutely against it, but you don't need to go shouting for the rooftops.
No, and as I say, with Finlay to helm, the right things will always be done for the interest of the club. So, me personally, I was against it because I thought it was going to belittle the Highland League.
Yeah.
Two teams going out, who replaces them? And if a team gets promoted the following year, who replaces that team?
Yeah. And just what appeals to me with the Highland League is you only play teams twice in the league. You play, you get them at home and you get them away, and that's it. If you're used to watching the SPFL 4 times a season, and then if you get them in a cup, you can get them in a Scottish Cup, you can get them in a League Cup. All of a sudden, you've played a team 6 times a year, and it just becomes a bit stale. And that's what was going to happen with the Conference League, I thought, because it was going to be a league of 10, playing each other 4 times. All of a sudden, the Broch's got 8 visits from a B team at the Bellslea instead of a different Highland League team coming every week. So yeah, it just sounded it was going to get stale pretty quick.
Well, to me, as far as I can see, it was just done to suit 2 teams, and that's not right.
Well, that's yeah. There's a lot done in Scottish football that's to suit 2 teams, but
We'll probably best need to go there. The Highland League, I've thoroughly enjoyed it for 40 plus years watching the Highland League. It's competitive. It's made the point now you can watch away matches, stand aside opposing fans and have a laugh. In the SPL.
No. And the pies is normally good value as well, better value in the Highland League as well. Although locos need to rein it back a bit. I think a steak pie at Locos last time I bought him was about £4. I'd be wanting my supper for £4.
Well, I had a cheeseburger and chips before a match on Saturday. It was £9.
Oh, was it?
£9. I was a ball. But hey ho, but so you've started watching the Broch. Have you've been up to Keith? You've been at Locos. Where else have you gone to so far?
I was up at last season. I was at Forest. I was at Rothes. I was at Bucky. And had a fine Friday night up at Banks a Day. I might have had a few beers that night.
Well, that's a local match for you.
Well, I can walk. I think I said it's probably 40 years since the last time I was within walking distance of a Broch game. So that was a refreshing change. What else was I have been? I don't know if I'd be up for Wick. It's a bit like fair, credit to the boys that go to Wick, because that is, even Brora is a bit like, that is a bit
fun. It's part of the day, Steve.
It is,
As you say, you're only doing it once a season unless you draw them in a cup.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. It's good trips up to Wickenborough.
Aye. Maybe one day. It is a bit of a thought.
It's a long trip home if you didn't winter.
Aye. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to get out and about, and you met fell in with Mr. Martin Moyer. How did you get
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, I'd started going to when I first started going to the Broch recently again. I'd maybe put a couple of photos up on Twitter with the like a photo you've got behind you, kind of similar idea to that. And then I felt this nudge next this. So Martin and me had kind of started speaking to each other on Twitter. And I felt this nudge back, and he was like, "Oh, you must be you. Are you behind Twitter?" I'm like, "Aye." So he gave us a good Broch Highland League welcome. And we've kept in touch. We were up at Locos together on a train on Saturday, which was good fun.
Good. And I'm presuming you're getting the kind of lot of the fans when they were you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You meet in and you see the same faces, see the same faces, and everybody's very welcoming and happy to hear news with you, and it's good. It's a good community. Yeah, it's a really good community spirit about the place, and that's one of the things that does make it appealing to keep coming back.
That's good. And after night, folk will see your face and say, "Oh, it's a loon at Bellslea Bulletin."
That's right. Aye. I had a few folk speaking to me about it in the Locos bar before the match. So yeah,
that's very good.
Everybody's been really encouraging and everybody's been really supportive, and because I say encouraging and it makes you want to keep doing it.
Aye, of course it does. And of course, every time folk will see you, they'll be saying, "For the best, you can put this in your magazine, for the best game," and that's where
well, I hope so. Yeah, as long as they're nice in. What was that rubbish you put in? That's a load of crap. That never happened, or that never happened.
Have you met Mikey Barber yet?
No.
Mikey's a guy you should have a chat with.
Okay.
He's a shouting Saturday. I'll introduce you to Mikey.
Right. Okay.
Scrapbooks dating back for donkey's years with Broch matches.
Okay. Yeah.
He's the author of the two books.
Yes, I've seen. Yeah.
Mikey's wrote the two books.
Okay, I'm aware. Yeah, I'm aware of them. Aye, that'll be good because I think when I was in a library, obviously you can pluck out the match reports and type them up, no problem. But the photos, obviously, in an all scanned P&J, they're no the best. So if that was one of the other kind of requests I was going to say, if anybody's got photos of like old finals or memorable matches or stuff like that, give us a shout because I'd be delighted to include that type of thing in the bulletin as well.
Well, I'll introduce you to Mikey on Saturday.
Okay, yeah, great.
The two you can have a chat, and he'll tell you about games, and he'll tell he's got photos and paper clippings, and I would call him a proper historian.
Okay, yeah, that's the type of people that, that's great, Willie, yeah.
And another one is Bruce Buchan, ex-assistant manager to Charlie. Bruce has a font all knowledge and
Okay.
Have you met Bruce yet?
No.
Yeah, that's the kind of lads to get chatting with. But of course, you've got Finlay.
Yeah.
And Finlay doesn't care, it's probably never caring.
That's right, yeah.
But us boys will keep you up to date. So that's your magazine side. What's your hopes for it, or thoughts and hopes for Broch this season?
Yeah, I just keep playing like we've been playing. Just keep under the radar. Then I go. There's a couple of teams that maybe came first and second last year that are probably more likely to go shouting for the rooftops about we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I don't think that's a style because you just set yourself up for folk just want to knock you down.
Oh, that's for sure.
Just keep keep under the radar, as I say, just keep playing away, just keep picking up the points, and then see where it takes us by kind of end of March, April, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Obviously, it's good. The Shield and the Aberdeenshire Shield and Aberdeenshire Cup are good trophies to win as well. So that was good last season to see both of them coming to the Bellslea. Highland League Cup as well. That would be nice to see a good run in that.
Historically, it's not a cup we've done well in.
No, not particularly. But
reason for it, but what does it say? Records are there to be broken.
Aye, that's it. So I think, is it Devonvale at the end of this month? In it first time? Yes, but in a Highland League Cup, I mean, I think that kicks off at the end of the month.
Vale or Fallen Centre in the league, then the Fallen Centre were out of Vale in that cup.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, so it'd be good to get a run in that in as well.
Aye, we've got an interesting game on Saturday. It'll be a good game.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's you didn't want to talk about. I was just saying, look, just keep below the radar. But when it comes to the crunch at the end of the season, it's games like Bucky define where you're likely to finish up. So hopefully they brought, shouldn't have any fears, because like I said earlier, nobody's beat Locos 7-0 before, apart from once. Cove beat him once years ago. Nobody's done that. So Brock shouldn't have any fears at all about Bucky. Hopefully keep Spider in a dugout, keep him quiet, which isn't easy to do, is it?
For all that, Spider, he's a good manager. He's done an awful lot of good things with Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
He's been runner-up. Unfortunately, no one on him, but
no.
I'd love to hear chat with him the year we won the league. And we felt Wick on from they won, the Brock won. They weren't marking inroads and doing the last 2 or 3. It'd be an interesting to get chat with him, see if he had to say about that.
Yeah. I don't know, and they did a similar situation last season as well. I was going to say I kind of feel sorry for them, but I don't know if I do, if I'm honest.
Well, I think the Highland League set up to be really competitive again this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to make any daft predictions.
No.
Just hope the Brock's in the mix at the end of the season.
That's all you can ask, isn't it? That's all you can ask. I think the last couple of, when Brechin won it last year and the Brock season before, obviously I think won about 30 games or whatever out of the 34. I'm not sure if any team will do that. I think it'll be a lot closer. There's probably more teams that'll take, like Bankside for Martin, even traditional like Brora and Bucky, Brechin, obviously. I think there'll be more teams that can take points off each other this season. So I'd be surprised if anybody kind of goes 30, 32 wins out of 34. But hopefully it's a good close, and there's a few teams in the mix, but hopefully there's black and white ribbons on the thing at the.
Well, here's it's going to be an interesting Saturday this week. We are at home to Bucky, Brechin's at home to Brora. So I mean, it's 2 good games.
Okay. Aye. Yeah.
We can see who they both pan out.
Aye, they slipped up, of course, didn't they? Brechin up at Huntly last week. So, I think they probably expect it to be up and out of the Highland League by now. But I think they've found just how tough that can be, and they've found just how competitive it can be.
And I would think rightfully they will start the season as favourites. Folk will be looking they past Brechin for the winners.
Yeah, and I think they're because of where they're located geographically, they can probably get boys up, certainly for Dundee, maybe even for further afield. They've probably got a bigger pool of players that they can latch on to. So that possibly makes them favourites, but then it's a team game at the end of the day, and it's more about how you play together as a team, isn't it?
Like I said, we just keep chipping away and doing our thing, and as you said a minute ago, see if it takes us towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that's it.
But I find really pleasing is last year under 21s won the league.
Yeah, yeah.
The 18s produced a few players for the full team, so it's not just the first team. I can do on a Monday night and watch 18s and 21s. There's some cracking good players there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Aye, and they did a good start again. Monday night, didn't they?
They beat
Was it
Huddersfield
5-0?
5-0, good game.
I think they're in at Dice in a couple of weeks. I've penciled that in if I can get a night head over to Ian Mayer Park and see them playing at Dice. But yeah, right, and that's one thing that impresses me about the Broch. They're not a team that goes out and maybe buys half a dozen players. I think, maybe Bucky or Brechin, they've went out and there's maybe 6 or 8 new faces to the club that have came in this season, whereas Broch's more likely to, we've seen Logan Watt kind of coming up through. We've got the likes of Joshua Aiken, Kieran Simpson, even Kieran, he's maybe got 100 games now, but there are boys that's come up through the youth, isn't there?
Aye. And the fans recognise that and appreciate it and turn out in big numbers every week to cheer the boys on.
Yeah. And you build more rapport with these boys, you see them like you'll have known that those boys since probably they were about 16, when they've just started playing for the 18s. So
well, between you and me, I used to ken some of their dads when they played.
Okay.
We'll keep that going.
Showing your age, eh?
Well, I was 21 inch. So, Steve, we're running out of time, I'm afraid, but
Okay.
I really enjoyed your Bellslea Bulletin last month. I'm looking forward to next season.
Thank you. Yeah.
If anybody wants to contribute, just get in touch with you and get a chat.
Absolutely. Look us up on Facebook or give us a shout at the matches. You'll see me because I normally wear my cap with my Broch badge on the side.
Right, okay.
If you see this, you'll know I'm a man to speak to.
You'll have give it a t-shirt, the Bellslea Bulletin, man.
Oh God. Okay.
Right, Steve.
Thanks, Willie, for having us on. That was good and really enjoyed it. So thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Like I say, one or two of the fans will now put their face to the Bellslea Bulletin. So
yes,
you get a lot of grief going forward. It's my fault. Okay. And I'll look forward to seeing you Saturday. And if you give me a shout, I'll introduce you to Bruce and Mikey Barber.
Perfect. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. See you on Saturday, Willie. Thank you. See you.
Thank you for listening to my podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. It's really good to get an insight from the players to give their perspective on things. If you would like to come on my podcast, feel free. It's not restricted to players. Anyone involved in the club is more than welcome to come on. Or saying that, if you'd like to see a favourite player come on, give me a shout and I'll see what I can do to organise it. So once again, thank you very much for watching and stay tuned for some more cracking good episodes to come.